Welcome everybody to the Hoop Chat. The Hoop Chat. Excited about this topic right here, dog. Let's go.
I learned how to win in college.
Process, right?
Absolutely. Separate the men from the boys. It will separate the real from the fake. It will separate the committed from the uncommitted, who really loves the game and who really don't.
Your network equals your net worth. 25 years of experience.
Like, oh, man, yeah, let's get to work. Mm-hmm. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. I love that. Let's get to work, man. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Chat. You already know it's your boy, Coach Nelly. This is my boy and my counterpart, my brother, Mar. And you know we're here to bring you the real about the game. The Hoop Chat is brought to you by none other than Wayne's World and Mars Basketball. And you can head over to marsbball.com, check out the latest merch. And again, if you want to be inspired and motivated as a player on and off the court, check out marsbball.com. And if you could do us a huge favor, if you could head over to YouTube, if you could hit that search button, search the Hoop Chat, and hit that subscribe and like button to help us grow, we would much appreciate it.
That's a fact. Man, so where you want to start?
I just want to say I'm here to pod. That's going to be our thing. I'm here to pod. I just want to start off real quick, man. I got a couple shout outs before we start, man. I just want to shout out two of my former players, Gavin Henry and Mike Clement. They battled each other in the first round of the NJAC playoffs on Friday. It was neat to see to have two former players playing against each other and both get a lot of minutes for their team. Actually, they're both starters for their team. Gavin's a freshman and Mike's a sophomore, but it was neat, man. And just getting the text messages throughout the day from each one of them. Yo, Coach Wayne, yo, tune in. You know, I'm about to give him buckets. We about to, the trash talking started happening. But it was neat to see, man. Shout out to both of them. Mike goes to NJCU and Gavin goes to Rutgers Camden. Now NJCU smacked them. It was a 30-point win. It was kind of funny because Mike told me, yeah, yo, Coach Wayne, I played Gavin tonight in the playoffs, and it's going to be Gavin's last game and all. Like, he just said it in the conversation, like, yo, we about to smack them.
Yeah.
So it was neat to see. So shout out to both of them, man. I got to give a shout out to my man Carlos Lopez over at EHT for scoring his 1,000. Little Los. That's a player that's close to both of us. We have worked with him since he was like 8 years old. Since he was youngin'. And couldn't be serious in workouts out here just laughing, joking, but the kid always had talent, always had skill. So shout out to Carlos.
Congrats.
Getting that 1K in his junior year on his last game. And shout out to EHT, man. 14-1 this year. They're a tough team. And going out with beating St. Joe's yesterday as their last game. I got a quick shout out to my man Damian Rawls. Another kid that I have worked with in the past and actually had the opportunity to coach his older brother, Jordan Herring. So shout out to him over at Overbrook for scoring his 1K this past week. Kid's a tough kid, works hard, and is a dog on the floor. So shout out to him. And last but not least, I got to give out a huge shout out to my girl, Mariana Papazuglu. Yesterday, she needed 29 points coming into game to become the girls' all-time leading scorer, and she finished the game with 37.
Dang.
They played Life Academy. The game went into overtime, and she just took over overtime, scoring, I think, like 10 of her 37 in overtime. Her first bucket in overtime was actually the one that broke the record. So again, huge shout out, man. It's just, that one hits home. Been working with her since she's in 7th grade, and she's always had that goal. She was going to Wildwood Catholic since she was 2 years old. It was set in the stars, but that was her goal. When I go there, I want to walk away as it was the all-time leading scorer, period, girls and boys. But due to COVID, it couldn't happen. They missed some games this year. Um, so, but she's the all-time leading scorer, a record that was held for 30 years. I don't see anybody coming along in a long time that's going to knock that down. So again, huge shout out to my girl Mariana.
Word. Man, since you giving shout outs, I'm gonna do the same, man. I wanna it's funny because this shout out is ironic. Um, okay. I didn't get the opportunity to watch it live. It was live streamed. I didn't get an opportunity, but this is a big matchup. Um, and it's funny because I was in the gym and I'm leaving out of the gym, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I was just in the whip listening to the Drake and Lil Baby, and just got a little turned up. You know what I'm saying? Like, left the gym, I'm in the whip. I'm like, and I got sent out this personal challenge to my young boys out there. So I reached out to them and I was like, let's go. Like this is the last one, and in that said, you know, make this last one something that everybody remembers, because up here, um, it was Roselle Catholic versus Bergen Catholic, and that's
Okay.
number 5 versus number 2. And, it's an anticipated matchup because you got a tremendous amount of talent on BC side, and then you also have a tremendous amount of talent on RC side. But it's just that innate competition from these kids who have grown up playing against each other and now get this high school stage, and they both are powerhouse institutions. But I'm very proud of Simeon Wilshire and Jamarcus for pulling out a win. And it was crazy because it went to OT, and
Nice.
I received a message on the write-up like, yo, your boy just took over from the fourth quarter through overtime, and they got away with a 6-point win against the number 2 team in the state, over Bergen Catholic. And for me, it was just one of those things that was amazing to feel, because I know that I sent out that personal challenge to those guys, and they stepped up
Word.
and they said,
Word.
you know what I'm saying,
Word.
on it. And I didn't necessarily have a doubt if I would have my money up, I would put my money on RC. But just the simple fact that I got the message randomly as I was, doing some things with the family and stuff. It was just one of those moments where you're just like, damn, these kids really get it. They really understand how to meet the challenge. You know what I mean? And be great and demand that greatness of themselves, and look at what they're able to accomplish. And it is a game you'll remember, because it was talks throughout the week about Camden playing Bergen Catholic, you know, and they kind of got throughout the comments, because I made a comment like, yeah, we want to see that, but we also want to see Camden and RC, and we got a lot of different people. It started a lot of conversation. Oh, nah, they not nice. They lost to Trent Catholic. They lost to Hudson Catholic. And while they did lose to those teams, don't act like they're not formidable, bro. Like, don't act like
Word.
worthy of the challenge to compete against these teams. And I just wanted them to end on that high note. So shout out to Simeon Welsh, shout out to Jamarcus. But y'all know we right back to work. We right back to work. We right back in that lab. We gotta get prepared to make it a summer that everybody remembers. But I'm very proud of you guys. I know the work that you put in. I know the effort that y'all put in, and just to pull out that win means a lot to me, because I know I sent that challenge out to you guys and you responded in a way in which I could be proud of, and I'm thankful for you guys for doing that for me. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the guys.
Word. Salute to y'all, man. I know Lamar talks very highly of you too, man, and I'm looking forward to crossing paths with both of you soon. And just being able to be around what he talks about. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the high school players, man. I know the high school season just ended on yesterday. I know this season was one for the history books. It was different. It was a lot of unknown moving forward. Um, shout out to the high schools that were able to get all 15 in, and shout out to the high schools and players that weren't. You figured it out as you went. The most important thing that everybody came out of this safe.
Right.
So good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like you said, man, that was a sprint this year, and
Yeah.
I think now is an opportunity for coaches and players to now start to sit and reflect on that. Some great things happen, and some not so great things happen for a lot of teams. I know for me personally, it was really dope. Me and you have talked about it. Just having the opportunity to have so many players hit you to watch their games, and it's like,
Right. Right.
I got my phone, I got my laptop, I got my TV, and I'm trying to watch multiple
Right.
at one time. And it just was a dope experience to have, to the point where it's like, bro, I can't watch all your games. Like it's too
Right. Right.
docket for today. I got games with 16 players and I can't watch all these.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, it'd be a player that asks you to watch a game, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and like you just don't have the opportunity to, right? And they hit you like, yo, coach, did you watch that? They're like,
Nah,
no,
but
I'm gonna leave you on unread.
nah, that's a fact. But
Nah, yeah,
I think for these kids, man, it just shows me again the impact that you have, what
right,
certain players are looking for. They're not just looking for you just to watch their games. Some of them are looking for you to give them next level things, and
right,
they learn, and they want to use you as that beacon, so to speak, to have
right,
nation. And for me, it just allowed me to step into even more of a role in terms of helping them, because now, in order, these kids are geared to now having to watch these games. You know what I mean?
right,
Not necessarily waiting for coach to break down the film. It's already on this platform of YouTube or whatever. It's
right,
if you're working with a trainer, or it's easier for you to just go right into watching it and get in the proper context. You know what I mean, for whatever it was, good, bad, or whatever, and how to rectify that. And that, to me, is like the beautiful thing of this year. Like, they put
right,
it's right there for you. You could take a look at it. They're interested in it. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what you want, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, there's some great things that came out of it, out of this year. There was also a lot of bad things that came out of this year. Just from a perspective of, coaches just didn't have enough time to work with kids and get
right,
prepared. And I think that, I've heard a lot of chirping about this guy can't coach, or this guy can't do this or that. But when you're in this type of situation, you
right,
you're just trying to do the best that you can to stay healthy enough to even compete. Because all
right.
you needed, really, the season started in February. All you really needed was 2 COVID cases. That's 28 days. That's basically
That's it.
right there. You know what I mean? So shout out to all the coaches that made, like you said, made it through the 15 games, made an effort to make sure that you were trying to, work towards moving your program uh, to another level amidst this adversity. The lack of
Right,
those things, and figuring that out for the coaches, and figuring out your leaders, and figuring out those kids who are going to take your programs to the next level, despite winning or losing. Throw the records out. I'm
right,
about being able to galvanize the troops, so to speak, and get everybody on one accord to move
right.
forward. So I know that's very tough on coaches, because I've heard parents, believe me, if I showed y'all coaches some of my text messages from parents, you'll be like, yo, next time I see you, it's on site, because it's a lot of y'all, a lot of put on their names, but I don't think you realize how difficult it is for these coaches in this type of situation. So, um,
Right,
you know, I really, really do have a respect for many of you coaches out here who, put the same type of time, effort into your program that you would in a normal season in this type of situation, with it being what it is.
right. And know what? And I tend to notice, watching a lot of high school games this year, the the programs that are established as programs did a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Um,
Hmm.
Only because the structure has been set in motion, for a while now. So um, these programs most likely have players that are constantly working out all the time, or they're doing stuff together as teams. So it's almost like there never really is an off season. You know what I mean? So they're able to maintain, and so. But again, I mean, I didn't have the privilege of coaching this year, but so I don't know how it was coaching during COVID. But again, like you said, I gotta salute every coach, because not even the fact that if you get one COVID case. I mean, what if because some schools and rules were different, depending on player and contact tracing and things of that nature. Just what if you lose one of your best players that has to sit out 2 weeks, and you have to figure it out on the fly. So there's a lot that went into this year that, again, it was all unknown. Nobody knew. You just figure it out on the fly and you try to make it work. So shout out to all the coaches out there, man.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of coaches, man, so
coaches at what levels you want to talk about right now?
We're gonna go to collegiate level.
Man,
all right.
Good.
We're gonna stay on the coaching topic, but over the last couple days,
call
call
them to the carpet. You got some
attention, please, up front and close and personal. Creighton University's head coach, Coach McDermott, made a comment a few days ago, and it hasn't.
Comment, though?
Oh, I'm gonna read it.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna let all y'all know what he said, right? Because it didn't sit right with me, and I know it doesn't sit right with a lot of people. So they had just lost to Xavier, and after the game, he's in the locker room talking to his players, and he goes, "Guys, we got to stick together. We need both feet in. I need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anybody leave the plantation." That was his quote to his team. Now, the makeup of their roster is majority Black kids. He does have white kids as well. It's not all Black team, but he has a majority Black kids, right? I'm sorry, man. Like, why? I just like, what does that have to do with basketball? That is the worst analogy you could ever use. But for the climate that we're in today's society, not only do you have to be mindful of what you say, but bro, I don't think I've had some coaches say some really messed up things. I don't think I've ever had a coach that said anything like this to me, to any of my teammates, anything like that, right? It's wrong. I don't care. This shouldn't be said in a basketball setting, in a classroom, in a business. All like this is just completely wrong, right? And my issue that I really have with this is, why does this man still have his job? Why is he still? Why? Right? And for all you don't know, when this happened, immediately the next day, the president of the university and the AD, because they were in Philadelphia, flew to Philly, right? Immediately, hop on the jet, we're there. And they talk about this with all of them in the team. And the decision that came out of that was, you can coach the next day. Go ahead. You're going to go coach against Villanova, right? So that tells you that for them, the importance was all about basketball. We don't care what you said. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll deal with it, And if I'm not mistaken, the conference championship was on the line. That's why they allowed him to coach against Villanova, right? And they lose. Of course, at that point, are your players going to play hard for you? Like, their players are now coming out now, as of yesterday, talking about how that hurt them for a comment like that to be said. So they were gone. Once that was said, they're mentally not locked into you. Fire this man. Like, he got to go. Like, and for the university not to do that on site, like, if I'm the president, yeah, I'll fly. I'll hop right on this plane. I'm going to hop right in this plane. I'm going to tell you, like, yo, you get your stuff, you out of here. This is not what we stand for as a university. Yeah, you can coach. Now we're going to suspend you and we're going to investigate more. What is there to investigate, bro? What is there? What more do you have to look into? The comment was said, right? It was proved that he said it. He even came out and said, yeah, I said it. This is exactly what I said. His player said he said it. What more do you need to investigate? He got to go. He got to go. I don't care if you can't go back and you want to talk to old players and things like that. How was he when you were coach when you were playing for him? None of that matters. He could listen. This man could be racist and have kept it quiet all this time, and now at this moment is when it came to a head, and he said something like that. So you can't go back to the past, right, and ask, nah. And then you, as a university, you have to understand if you keep this man and allow him to keep his coaching position, how does it affect recruiting for you now?
Yeah.
Because players got to come. You're successful by going out and getting people to come play for you. So for me, bro, he should have been chopped. Get out of here. Pack your bags. You're done. And I personally felt they handled the situation the wrong way.
I mean, you ain't gonna get no argument out of me with that. You know, trying to hear or understand the side of the coin perspective. To me, with everything that has gone on between 2020, just simply, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor,
Right.
Marbury, these different things. And I know a lot of y'all forgot about that because it's washed out of the media, right? The protests are done. People, they didn't already had a verdict on Breonna Taylor. We still
Right.
about George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery, mind you. But in this, like you said, climate, you can't be that tone deaf in this position to make a comment like that, then try to justify it behind the fact that later on, I asked my players and they wanted me to coach them. No, they didn't. No, they
Right.
clearly
Right.
didn't because
They were forced to say that.
and at the end of the day, what it shows is players are commodities, and
Right.
we drive, econ for these corporations that are called universities,
Right.
because the reality of it is this: if that was another sport that doesn't generate the type of attention and money that the men's basketball program does, I'm pretty sure number one, this probably wouldn't even have come out, right? Number two, if it did come out, then the coach will probably be fired, and again, we wouldn't even hear about these types of things, right?
Right.
The simple fact that, like you said, it shows a clear prioritization of the university and the men's basketball program trying to elevate the program by using the stage of the conference championship to increase enrollment. We all know, listen, generally speaking, it's going to increase between 2 to 5% just based
Right.
the validity of your university's basketball or football programs. We know that. Like, if you nationally ranked, more kids are going to want to come to that school.
Right.
Right? If they're on TV, and listen, this school is located in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm pretty sure that you either got one or two choices. You either going to Lincoln, Nebraska, meaning the University of Nebraska, or you probably going to Creighton. So
Right.
we're trying to compete with those kids and increase the enrollment. Y'all need a new building, right, for medical, for the med students, even though if you look at many of the majors of the kids who play basketball, it's communications, it's business,
It's
it's
business. Yep.
types of things. They don't take any benefit in new lab supply, different things that are generated for millions of dollars that they create, but they can't make any money. You know what
Right.
which speaks to another point. Just to stay focused on this, you can't justify the comment because it really isolates a certain type of individual. You're speaking
Right.
black people when you say no one can leave the plantation. What other people were on a plantation that you can sit here and say, yo, nah, this was just a general statement. Maybe it was the wrong context. We all know. We've played basketball. And like you, I've had coaches use military terms, calling 3-point shooters snipers, sniper group, you know what I mean? Or whatever it may be. Those different military mantras. While we may not be going to war, it's just a certain type of mentality that has a similarity in terms of how we do things, right? We
Right.
stay collectively together, everybody all hands on deck, right? He could have said that. We all understand what that is, right? All hands on deck. Guys, we need everybody stay locked in. We still playing for something. We don't need to use those types of terms, and that can only come from one thing. You are normally around people who speak like that, who talk like that, and it just came out. It's not something that you thought about, because if you thought about it, you would have been like, nah, I ain't gonna say that. You ain't think about it. So that's common conversation for you to have, is what I'm saying. And
Right.
leader of young men, for you to be a leader of a program. Unfortunately, it shows your lack of competence for your position, for the position that you hold, the gentleman who you are head of. Because you are.
Right.
So I want you to understand there's a whole subsect of black people that are looking at these particular kids who they attached to. They got friends, they got family, and they looking at them like, yo, you really about to go play for this dude? Like,
Right.
yo, you really about to go play for this dude, yo? Like, what's up with that? You know what I mean? Good luck with your recruiting. Because I'm telling you right now, you can't come sit in my house and speak to my son
Mm-hmm.
about anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
about to ship my son from Jersey to Omaha, Nebraska under your stewardship. When you talking to my kid talking about he can't leave a plantation, we gonna show you how we leave. You understand what I'm saying? So the NCAA, the university, they all handled the situation wrong. You know,
Right.
they could have stepped in and said, you know what, this is an NCAA sanctioned uh conference championship. We say that he's suspended. Forget what the
Right.
I'll do whatever internal investigation y'all want to do, but that man will not be coaching. You need to
Right.
interim head coach for this point in time. You know what I'm saying? And for the team to move forward. That's what
Right.
the NCAA is always stepping in on different university situations as is. So why don't
Right.
we step in on this situation? You know,
Right.
it's a game, man. And at the end of the day, it shows it's the microcosm of this country. Again, we are not valued. Our perspective, who we are, what we do, no matter how hard we work, no matter how honest we are, no matter how much we give, at the end of the day, they've shown us we ain't shit. It don't matter what we feel. It don't matter what we say and how those things affect us. You understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to always keep turning the other cheek. Well,
Right.
it's a fact. I says, how many cheeks you gonna turn? If I only got two and you keep slapping me, I can't keep turning. Eventually, I gotta step up and I gotta handle my business. And I think that those kids should step up and handle their business. If they don't feel like he should be there, then yo, you need to go to the AD. You need to go to your school president. You need sure that yo, look, we're going as a unit, as a group, a unified group to say, yo, at the end of the day, we can't play for this dude. Because
Right.
not everybody is moving on. There's guys who are sophomores on that team. There's guys who are juniors on that team who we
Right.
so my thing is now where are y'all gonna go? What are you guys are gonna do to make sure that we can eradicate this stuff, man? Like at the end of the day, it's gone far too long. This is not the first instance. This is just a publicized instance at a time in which we all know and identify with the racial tensions that have gone on in this country. You understand?
Right.
So at
Right.
this point, it's like there's nothing else left to be said other than yo, you got to remove yourself at the end of it.
Right. Right. You know what, too? It's just like, you know, you're talking to people and you know how your mind works and you say a sentence and it's like, all right, we don't need you to leave blank. And then your mind's going through all the words in your mental vocabulary that you can use. And the one that it stops on is plantation. Ding, 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 ding. Let's put that right there. You know what I mean? Like you said, then that for me, it also shows, like you said, like that's something that's just so excuse me. If it's so quick to be said without a thought, then you use it all the time. That's your everyday talk. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you, this is what the university hoped happened was okay, let them go out and coach. Let's hope they beat Villanova and win the conference title, and everything just dies down. It's all right. His players still wanted to play for him and play hard, and they won the championship. It was okay. It was a slip up, but obviously that didn't happen. Obviously, his players were hurt. Obviously, they don't look at you the same. Obviously, no matter what's coming out your mouth now, all they hear is the word plantation and don't leave the plantation. So it's a done situation. Like I said, if I'm the president and I want to make a statement, that's the first thing I would have did. You got to go.
Or
Sorry, sorry. You got to go. You're gone. We'll figure it out. You step in as interim coach, and then we can investigate you while you're not here. Like you don't have to be in the coaching position for us to investigate you. Nah, pack your stuff and get out. This is not what we stand for. You know what I mean? And you're right. Your players could have took a stand and said, "Yo, we're not playing this game. We good. I'm not playing for somebody like that." So, I mean, this whole situation was just handled wrong. He was wrong in the beginning for saying what he said, but it could have been handled in a swift manner. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Make a statement. We don't stand for this, but they didn't. And like you said, it just shows you that what matters in in today in this world, and it's mattered for a long time, is they see us as ching, 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 ching. So what she tell LeBron? Shut up and dribble,
Yeah.
right? Um, and you're dealing with these multi-billion-dollar industry with the NCAA and these million-dollar uh, universities that make so much money off these athletes that they would do anything to not lose a dollar.
Right. And that's the shameful part of it.
And that's the shameful part of it. So,
yeah, man, and that speaks to another point that we wanted to get into is we have a lot of parents, we have a lot of kids who are aspiring to get to that level of basketball. That's a Division I level, that's a scholarship level, that's maybe not a Power 5 conference, but I mean, what they play in the Big East, right?
yeah, they're Big East.
So that is a Power 5 conference. So you're
Yeah,
looking, that's where all of these kids want to get to, right? All of these kids work and want to go to one of those schools in the Big East, Big 12, Pac 12, ACC, Big East. That's where these kids want to go play, right? And in order to be there, there's these different coaches and there's steps in order to get there. So, this kind of bleeds perfectly into our next subject that we wanted to talk about, because we went from the college level and talking about college coaches to now parents putting themselves in position, as well as players putting themselves in position to be recruited at a time like this. And what pertinent information can be given, number one, the changes that'll be going on in terms of, exposure, live periods, all of those different things, what AAU teams are actually legitimate AAU teams. And then if you are being recruited, are you doing your due diligence and recruiting the background of those coaches? And how can you do those things to make yourself or give yourself the best opportunity to make the best decision for your family?
right, right.
Jump in there, man. What you got to say about that?
So just to give you the players and parents some information on how recruiting is going now, and this is as of the end of February. They the dead period that's been going on this whole time. Well, basically, for you people, for your parents and players that don't know what the dead period is, it just means there's no contact, right? You can't have no personal one-on-one contact. Now, there are some, bends in that rule into what they can and cannot do. They might be able to send you a generic email, or there's no phone connection at that time. But for the most part, it's just quiet, especially during season. Anyway, most teams are focused on. I mean, most coaches are focused on their team. But the NCAA, when Corona hit, had stopped the dead period. There was really no dead. There was no live period last year after Corona hit. They extended that until for all sports until May 31st, 2021, but they are going to revisit in the beginning of April, and they're hoping that they will be able to come to some type of agreement to have a live period in June and July, which is normally what it is. Normally, there's the 2 weeks in April, and then there's the June and July, 1 week in June, 1 week in July. So there will be no live period in April this year. And they're hoping, and I think it most likely will happen, that there will be a live period in June and in July. The live period for players and parents, that means that's when coaches are allowed to come out and watch. I know everybody's seen big AAU tournaments on YouTube or on social media, and you see all the coaches sitting on the sideline. That is the live period. And at that moment, a coach can come up to you and say after a game, hey, we like you, we're interested, we'll be following you. Communication can happen. Now, what's in the air is of how they're going to move forward with the live period. Are they going to allow coaches?
while you explaining that, you're talking about scholarship level, Division 1, Division 2.
Yes. I'm sorry.
They operate
Now,
because
right,
of scholarship, so they may be able to come out and view you, and watch what you're doing.
right. So the rules for Division 2 and Division 3 are a little bit different. They're live. Their contact periods um, have been enabled, so they're able to still talk to you. They're able to call you. You are not allowed. They are not allowed to have personal contact with you as of right now. But they can reach out, connect, phone, email, however. So their rules are a little bit different. Um, but but even with D2, the live period affects them too because they're also allowed to give out scholarship money. Um, and I just want to say this because maybe not all parents and players understand that Division 1 and Division 2 are the only uh, two divisions that are allowed to give out athletics scholarship money, right? Division 3 does not give you full scholarships. Now, Division 3 is a little bit different. They like to say we like to put a package together for you. You know how they say we'll give you a little bit here, we'll get a little bit here. Here's your package.
They'll find the money.
Right, they'll find the money. So, but so moving forward, it's just a little bit different this year. So I forgot what I was getting into.
But that
Um,
is in those things, and being able to be viewed based upon whether or not this is Division 1, 2, or 3 does impact your decision making when it comes to finding an AAU program and team to be a part of, because
right,
you want your AAU team to be able to give you that exposure at those levels, that you desire to compete at, and understanding what is a legit valid AAU team that's actually there to promote you and create exposure for you to get you seen. They have relationships with different coaches. They have resources that can network to give you opportunities to be seen or to gain interest from these different institutions. So it's very important when you guys are running out here, and everybody nowadays has an AAU team. Everybody, every father, everybody literally has an AAU team. But
right.
very important to understand and distinguish what an actual AAU program is and an AAU team is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let you jump in here and give your ideals as to what are the distinguishing factors between the AAU program and the AAU team.
So an AAU team is like, yo, I need $600 from everybody here, and um, typically, right, you find that AAU teams are one, unorganized.
Mm.
Two, there's no set schedule on tournaments they're going to.
Season.
Um, there's a lot of up in the air. Oh, well, I'm trying to see if we can get into this tournament, or they'll hit you with, it's $600 to $700 per player, and we're going to get 5 tournaments, and they don't tell you what 5 tournaments are. Probably because they don't know what 5 tournaments they're playing in, and it's up on the fly, and they're trying to figure it out. Um, the tournaments that you do go to don't help. You're not going to tournaments where you're going to compete against the better AAU teams or AAU programs, I should say.
Hey,
You're not being put in positions for colleges to see you. And listen, there's levels to this AAU game.
absolutely.
You have your top of the line top tier
Elite.
AAU programs, elite, that are getting the elite players, and they are getting blessed with the equipment and the gear, and they're playing against the top and elite, and all the top coaches are coming to watch them,
Let's
right?
stop
And
there, because there's a supreme distinction, right? So what he's talking about right now is those players that are playing on elite AAU programs, they're also playing in events that are sanctioned by, or was it created by the sneaker companies. They have their own leagues. So if you're not playing in Nike EYBL, if you're not playing in Under Armour,
the gauntlet,
not playing Adidas Gauntlet, you're not in that elite level. So just understand that. Understand that those are where the kids are playing that are the top ranked in their position. The top
right,
players in each of those positions are playing between one of those three situations. Nike EY
right,
being the elite of the elite, and then right underneath that is Under Armour, the association. Adidas Gauntlet is starting to fall off, but they still do
right,
supremely elite teams. You got one in particular, programs. Compton Magic is one of those
right,
Adidas Gauntlet teams that can compete in any one of those things. But I just
right,
sure that, again, providing context, because
right,
running around with this elite thing, this word,
right,
such elite basketball and you ain't playing no elite nothing. You
right,
don't have any attachment to what elite is, and that's
right,
hey, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to. It's not like you'll never be seen or never get a scholarship if you're not playing for one of those teams. It's just like he said. There's tiers to this thing. It's levels.
right,
So go ahead,
right.
man.
And that was a good point. Like, just because a team, and listen, and the name of the organization is right. Your name could be whatever. So we don't want you parents and players to say, oh, it's you know blank blank elite AAU program, and think that word elite makes them elite. You know what I mean? But and it's okay, because I was going to get to the next tier. It's okay if you don't play for one of those EYBL. Everybody can't play at that level. That's a special level, and you will know if you're at that level because of how you're being contacted to play for one of these teams, and you will already know. But under that, and I can speak personally about this because I had the privilege to coach South Jersey Select for 7 years. And we were an AAU program that we weren't going to Nike EYBL. We weren't playing in here. We weren't playing. Now, we did play some of those teams. We were able to play against some of those teams in various AAU tournaments. But we were an AAU organization, right? We weren't an AAU team. We were an organization and a program that took pride in putting our players that we had in the best position and going to live tournaments, right? And listen, there are live tournaments throughout the country. You can go onto an AAU website and it will tell you where every live tournament is throughout the country during those live periods. Mm-hmm. And we took pride in, okay, we're not at the EYBL level, but let's go to every live tournament that Hoop Group does. And we'll go to Pittsburgh and we'll go to Rhode Island and we'll make sure that it's NCAA sanctioned. We'll make sure and we'll look to see who's there, how many teams they have. And we were going to tournaments during the live period where it's hundreds and hundreds of teams, mm-hmm. right? You go to Spooky Nook in Pennsylvania. That place is amazing. Right. And it's got 35, 50 courts and everybody's hooping. Coaches are walking around and you got some, right? And for you parents out there, Hoop Group does a good job, right? Some of their tournaments are really big because they do a good job of filling those those week periods when some of these bigger tournaments aren't going on, right? So they found their niche, and you see tons and tons of college coaches walking around from D1 down to D3 to JUCO, all different levels. When you're in these situations, then you will know as a parent, and a player, okay, I'm in the right spot.
Right.
If you're going to tournaments and it's at a local community college, and not saying that that's not okay, because listen, there are times where there's no live period going on. There's no college coaches out recruiting besides the D3 coaches. So you can go to a local tournament to stay, tuned up, to get prepared to practice, just to play. That's fine. I'm not saying that's not okay. But if you're going 1 week into the same community college and then the next week in the tournament's at the same, and then you're seeing the same teams over and over again, and it's 3 or 4 weeks and it's the same thing, and that's 3 out of your 5 tournaments, that's a problem.
And you playing in the gym and the lights ain't really good and it's like dim in certain spots and you dribble the ball and it got a dead spot on the floor, like you're not where you want to be. That's not.
Dude. Yo, coach, ball not coming back up.
to be. I think what I want to highlight South Jersey Select because I've had my relationship with them as well while you guys were coaching there. Also, a part of that organization that I feel like was very, very important too is working for your players, knowing enough about who your players are in order to really help facilitate the recruitment process. Like, yo, I got kids who are academically based kids. While
Right.
are athletically good enough to get scholarships, I'm not going to push them to certain institutions because they don't have what that kid is looking for, what that family may be looking for. So there are great quality schools that
Right.
are Division I schools that or Division II schools that provide the academic aesthetic. So if you don't have
Right.
that understands its players and create relationships. Go
Right.
games. As a coach or being an affiliate, which I was. You sitting there, and you networking, you talking to
Yeah.
coaches. May say,
Yeah.
I'm looking at such and such, and you may have a conversation with a coach, and he may say exactly what he's looking for, and
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, well, that fits the bill of the kid who I got right now.
Right.
Yo, you should take a look at such and such. I got his
Right.
SAT. Then the conversation commences. Then after he may pop in and what time you guys play? Oh, we play at 3:30. All right, well, look, I got this game. I got to see this kid on this court, but I'll make sure that I pop over and
Right.
look at this kid as well.
Right.
That's an AAU organization where the coaches are actually coaching you to develop as a player, but also
Right.
the bridge and the facilitator or the liaison, if you will, to the college and the player coming together and
Right.
to connect and bring that bridge.
Right.
Yo, you've been looking for a school. These are some of the resources that I have. This is what I'm doing. These are the different
Right.
coaches I have access to. And listen, understand something. Those relationships really help because, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you reach out and there may be a kid on my team who thinks he's a Pac-12 player or a Big 12 player, but he may not be. He may be a MAC player, right? And I lean on my resources. Hey, yo, man, listen, I need you to, you know, put this in this proper context for this kid, because he's
Mm-hmm.
going to Duke, which he is a Division I player, but he ain't a Duke Division I player.
Right.
And now you can have that conversation, so to speak, where he just doesn't shoot the ball well enough. So now you
Right.
can relate to that kid. If you wanted to play at these levels, these are the different things that you would have to do in order to compete at these levels, because that conference, typically the players in this conference exude these types of qualities. The
Right.
conference exude these types of qualities. In order to play at those levels, you have to have those requisite qualities. If you don't have that skill set or the genetic makeup, you're not going to be able to play at that level.
Right.
And sometimes kids need to be able to have that context given to them. No, I'm not saying it's impossible for you, but the likelihood of it is just what it is. It's probably not going to happen because of what it is that you are with at this current moment.
Right. Right.
Important because you don't want kids to have these lofty goals and dreams and thinking that, yo, I just went to hoop group up in a Pittsburgh Jam Fest and I seen Bob Huggins and this and that, and this coach and that coach was there. They was right there on the floor. I'm being recruited by them. That doesn't mean you being recruited by them just because they're sitting there to look at players. That's what the coaches section is for. You know,
Right.
so you'll overlook the University of Sciences.
Right. Right.
You'll overlook those types of schools, the Lehighs, the Bucknells. You'll overlook those types of schools that are actually looking to recruit you, that you actually fit. You fit at a Marshall. You fit at a James Madison. You fit at those types of schools, a Delaware. But you'll
Right.
overlook that because your eyes are on Duke, North Carolina, and you're just not that type of player. And if you
Right.
right organization, they won't put that proper context for you to help you
Right.
in the right situation for yourself. So I just want to again commend you and Tori for really making that a priority for the individuals and those kids within the program to help them get to the positions where they can continue to flourish in careers. So I wanted to make sure
Word.
just to talk about the difference again and what it was that an organization is versus a team and the aspects that you guys were able to accomplish with that.
Right. And that was a good point, man. And shout out to Torrey Cavallari, man. Like he started South Jersey Select and was doing it a couple years before I had finished playing. And when I decided to join him, uh, like he already had everything in motion, like this is how he was like, this is how I do this and this and this and that. And then you see how he was working and he was leveraging his relationships with coaches and leveraging his relationships with people that he had met. Um, it was like, yo, yeah, I want to be a part of this. This is how I definitely want to give kids the opportunity. Oh, we're going here. Oh, okay. This is how. Oh, okay, I get it now. And then you start to learn. And like you said, when we used to go to tournaments and in between games and we're watching other games or we know college coaches that are there, we utilize that time to go, lean on those relationships. Hey, listen, I got a guy. Can you come look at him and just tell me what you think? I don't know what division he can play at. I don't know. I can't figure him out, but you could tell me, you know what I mean? And you utilize those relationships. And if you have coaches doing that for you at the AAU level, then you're in the right you're in the right area. You're in the right team. And again, it don't got to be one of the top tier teams. At the end of the day, the goal is to help you get to the next level,
Absolutely.
wherever that is. And that was something that I'm very proud of that we've helped. I mean, it had to be in the time that I was there, at least 25 to 30 kids get to college.
No
You
question.
know what I mean? Of all levels, Division 1 to Division 3. So again, just there are levels to this AAU thing. You don't have to be the EYBL player. You don't have to be on that top tier. But you just have to make sure, that you're not getting beat for your money. You're not paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And again, too, and this is another thing. If you're paying all this money for an AAU organization program, you shouldn't be out here on the court looking raggedy, right? I think so because I also believe that if you're paying X amount of dollars for something, you should also look the part. Um, look the part, not out here. And you don't have, listen, uniforms aren't that expensive. You could get some uniforms that you all look very, very, very decent looking together, um, top, pants, and you look uniform than being out there running around with pennies on it with just a number on the back. Because I've seen that.
And don't get caught up in the hype because there's a lot of that too. There's a lot of you're really paying for the uniform, but as far as practice, what are you getting out of practice?
Right,
As far as your tournaments, like you said earlier, what are you getting? What you playing? You playing that rowing 15 times? You playing that FDU?
right, right,
Your whole thing, like it's a lot of that, man. You have to make sure that as a parent, one of the things that always has bothered me, and I want to shout out many of my parents because they do this in terms of staying. A lot of parents would
mm,
get off and pull off and have no idea what's going on.
mm-hmm.
Have no
We were
idea.
just talking about that. Yep.
So important for you to be that vested in the process. It's nothing wrong. I've never felt anything wrong. I've never felt like a fish in a fishbowl because parents are watching what I'm doing with their kid. They should be watching. They should
Right,
be in this process because that gives them a thorough understanding of the development process. What?
right,
How do I do these things? You understand what I'm saying? Like it's it's just the same type of care that you would take for their education. You have to take for them in their participation in sports because your kids say they want to do this. If they want,
right,
then you want to try to be just as much involved and hold these people accountable that's dealing with your child. Period. Period. You want to hold them accountable, bro. What is your status? What are you really here for? Are you here because you trying to get a money grab? Because every
right,
spring, fall, summer, spring, summer, fall, we could run this AAU program and boom, I'm getting, anywhere between 12 to 18 grand for the amount of kids that I have on my program and what I decide to charge them. You know what I mean?
right,
And people are charging $600 to be on the team and they charging you a portion for the actual tournament fee. To
right, right, right,
it's like, let's just make sure that again, whatever levels you at, just make sure that the people that are working with you are actually working with you for what they should be. And that's working for you, helping you to become a better player. That doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything. That doesn't mean that you're going to be a scholarship level player, but that just means that people are doing things right by you. They're trying to really help you. And parents, stop with the dropping your kid off and pulling off and then pulling up 5 minutes before the practice is over. And then when the tournament comes and your kid's not playing or you're not getting what you want, then you want to come to the coach. Well, park your behind in the damn practice and look at what's going on. Because maybe that's everything.
Right.
And like that could tell you everything. Oh, this dude is not where I need him to be. You understand what I'm saying? I can't get with this guy. This guy is not providing the different things. Look at how you run in practice. I went to practice for 2 straight weeks. Every time I walked into practice, he's on the phone or, he's got my kids over there just doing random stuff, and now this is why we look ragtag in tournaments. Kids don't know where they need to be offensively, don't know where they need to be on the defensive end, and we just getting shredded by other teams. And I'm out here paying $700 for this. You know what I'm saying? So invest that time. It really is a village that's going to help develop your kid into being. And you are a major part of being a part of that village because you want to make sure you safeguarding your kid from the BS. There's a lot of people out here. The basketball industry is huge. And then in that marketplace, there's a lot of genuine people, but it's also saturated with a lot of people who are looking to take advantage of you. You understand? And I'm talking, guys will give you the resume. Oh, I played at this college. Or I played pro for these amount of years. That doesn't mean that you have any requisite qualities that mean that you're a good coach. That means that you're a good facilitator. That means that you're willing to sit on the phone and help in the recruiting process. 1, 2 in the morning, you talking to coaches, trying to sell this kid, trying to help this kid, recruitment trips. You may even have to take those kids on those recruitment trips. Yes. I ain't just taking you to Duke to walk around. I'm taking you to this school because this may be an institution in which they're already interested. Let's pull up. Let's see what the campus is like. Let's walk around. Let's see what this is. Let's have the coaches take us around and learn what this institution is providing. That's what AAU organization will be able to do for you. And AAU is not doing those things for you. They just not. You understand?
No, absolutely. And just on that parent point, right? Like when we were coaching AAU, our parents stayed every practice. And it was, we had kids that weren't from the area too. So parents were like, yo, I just drove 45 minutes. I ain't going back home and coming back. So I'm going to stay and watch. But what starts to happen, and this is if you're a good program, you got good people in place, good coaches, parents, you start to become the mouthpiece for some of these AAU programs because you start to put the word out. They're a good program. They handle things right. They're organized. They make sure the kids, are being held accountable. Excuse me. And what happens was, and this happened for us, the parent will come now contact you. Hey, coach, I got a kid that's really good that's looking for an AAU program. Do you mind if I bring him? Or when's the next tryouts? And that's how you grow. So parents, like he said, you're part of the village too. And you might not be versed in the whole athletic NCAA, mantra and understand everything, but you're still could help push it forward. So it's very important that parents stay. Like you say, I mean, I know my dad was never dropping me off at some AAU place or a tournament or a coach and not checking the scene out and staying and watching for a couple of days to make sure I can leave my kid there by himself. You know what I mean? So, very important, man. And AAU has become a part of the recruitment process that it's very big, and it's almost kind of important because now kids can play AAU and really don't have to play high school basketball anymore if they really didn't care about the high school season.
My next point. That was going to be my next thing that you had brought up. It's important for parents to also understand because what you'll do is you won't invest the time into the AAU program, but your kid is playing for a high school coach that you like, oh, he don't do nothing. He don't reach out to no college coaches and he helped me do X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm telling you, the equalizer is your AAU program. Your AAU circumvent anything that happens on the high school sector. So your kid could essentially be going to a high school and it not be a good high school, but he could
Right.
still be actively being recruited because of
Right.
AAU affiliation and the team that he put
Right.
and the showcases and the exposure and what he's been around. So, you know, parents, it's important because I'm so tired of getting the kid's a senior, right? He's not being recruited, or he's not being recruited by the schools that you want him to be recruited by. And then it's like, oh, well, these didn't do this and this. Yo, this is not drop your kid off and then I'm just going to do everything. You got to be a
Right.
part. Like, you got to be a part of it. Like you said, you the mouthpiece. Because at the end of the day, the recruiter is going to come speak to you. He's going to come speak to your son, your daughter, and the parents of said person. So you need to be equipped with, okay, this is what I know my kid needs on the academic end. Do y'all got that? Do y'all got resources that's going to provide that for my kid? Who those people? Yo, what you be about? Like, all right, so let's say my kid comes to your school and he has an injury. And in that injury, it's like he never the same again. How do you respond to that? What would you do? I need to know those things before I make a decision on saying, yo, I'm with whatever my son wants. My son is just looking at basketball. He's looking at,
Mm-hmm.
and he's looking at those things. He's not looking at, well, if something happens, the what ifs, the
Right.
that insulate. Yo, look, you know what? This school is a good school because I know my kid, if he went to a big time school, a major school with a lot of people, he'll get caught up. So I want him
Right.
to go to school. This looks like a better fit for him because it's
Right.
concentrated, allow for him to do the things that he needs to do and be successful. You know, they
Right.
have resources around him to help him academically. You know what I mean? So now it's not about the high school coach anymore. It's about you being involved with other people and other resources to help materialize this situation. And you can
Right.
take that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Again, you know, I can't say this enough, man. Parents, you have to be active the whole way through. Even when they're in college, you still need to be active. You can't just say, all right, well, you got scholarship. All right, cool. Because everything is not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? These kids going to hit some adversity when they get to college. They may deal with certain things. They may have a Creighton-esque coach. Now what?
Mm.
I'm never going to show you my true. I'm a salesman. I'm never going to show you my real side when I come to recruit you. But when I get you to
Right.
Nebraska, when I get
Right.
1,000 miles away from your family, and I want to talk that plantation talk, and I'm the only school that gave you a scholarship. Now what?
Now what?
What you gonna do?
Right.
You know, so
Right.
to make sure that you on top of these things and holding these coaches accountable, and making sure that you are part of that process just as actively as your kid is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I want to say this too because it was a good point that you have brought up. And I'm a high school coach, right? Parents, it is not our job, right? When we sign our contract, it don't say anything about getting a kid recruited. That's not our job technically. Now, for a coach like me, I take pride in that because it's about helping the kid take that next step and preparing him and preparing them to take that next step. That's important to me. That's just who I am as a person. But there are coaches out here that just don't want to do that.
Right.
So parents, he just said it. Don't be, oh, my high school coach doesn't do anything. He don't have to do that,
Right.
right? So you have to be proactive in your kids' recruitment. It's very, very important because this is why, I tell parents, hey, listen, you have these dreams and aspirations of your child playing at the college level, then you need to match those dreams and aspirations with the knowledge. And once you get the knowledge, you can understand what's going on, and it will help you push and put your child in the right places
Mhm.
to be successful because you'll have the knowledge of. So a coach couldn't hit you with no BS.
All right.
An AAU team couldn't hit you with the BS because you would have some type of understanding of, nah, that's not what I read. I was reading, or whatever the case may be. You would have the knowledge to combat. You would have the knowledge to place and put your child in the right situation to aid them. I'm gonna say this. Listen, and I know not every high school coach wants to be a part of that recruitment process because it is a lot. It requires you. You said it, to make phone calls. Sometimes these phone calls may happen late. College coaches don't have I like to say college coaches don't have like a clock. Like they'll call you whenever. Like, hey, listen, man, this is on my mind right now. 1 o'clock. Let me see. Yeah, coach. Yeah, man, he might be up. Let me hit him up real quick and see what he's doing. I got a question. Like that's just how the game works. So some high school coaches don't want to deal with that. That's cool, but don't write it off. If you don't know or you don't want to, find somebody that will. Maybe you have a young guy on your staff that wants to do that, or maybe you have a friend that could help you. But don't just write these kids off and say, you got to figure it out on your own. Nah, help them. At least put them in contact with the right person. Push them in the right direction because it's important, man. It helps push the game forward. You know, I personally feel it is our duty as high school coaches
No question.
to assist that, right? Because they are coming from you, right? You are the step prior to them going to college, so it's important, man. You should have some type of a foot in that process. But the best thing parents can do is educate yourself. I mean, you can go on ncaa.org and you can read up on all the rules, live periods, how recruitment works. You could reach out to me. You could reach out to Mar. I mean, we're here to answer any questions that you would have about recruitment, how AAU works. But it's important because it is such a big part in the athletes today and how the process works for getting recruited. And I'm gonna tell you this, parents, and he said it, you could go to a crappy high school and still be on the scene getting recruited. You could be looked at. That doesn't matter. I'm gonna tell you this. You kind of have to be a part of AAU because college coaches aren't coming to high school games anymore. That time is over. That time of, let's go hop in my car and let's go to this high school. They play at 5, and then I'm going to drive over here because that's done with. Unless you're local, that's done with. They're not doing that anymore. Because why would I do that? Go ahead.
No. You going. You got it.
Why can I do that? Why would I do that and spend my time and money and take away from other things that I could be doing when I can go to a live period and watch every kid that I want to recruit in one setting in 2 days?
400
in 2 days. And I could do that in June and July. And I can be out and I'm done. And I've done my recruiting. I've talked to who I needed to talk to. I've seen who I needed to see, and I have an idea. And now, if I want to watch that kid in a high school setting, I'm gonna call the coach up. Hey, coach, can you send me some film so I could continue to watch this kid? Or do you got a live link that I could watch? Like, they're not driving and coming to watch you play in high school games no more. So, parents, get that out your head. Players, get that out your head. You kind of have to go to an AAU team that's going to put you in the position for them to want to watch you in high school.
And furthermore, I wanted to say too with parents too, man, like a lot of the BS teams out there, they don't want to deal with parents who in the know. They don't want to parents who know what's going on or is inquisitive enough to so do light research. You don't gotta go crazy and crawl down the rabbit hole to educate yourself. You could simply research a little bit of things, takes what we're talking about here on the Hoop Chat, and hey, listen, so how many kids did you put in college? When you start asking these people these kinds of questions, it's just like anything else in life. When they start squirming, like, this ain't there. I ain't messing with this. Or they can't answer the questions, or they on and and they want to bring up names and stuff like that where it just doesn't hit, and we all can see through the BS, and it's extremely important, man. Like Coach Wayne said, like we take this extremely serious. This brings up another point, something that I know that we've worked on in the past, is putting together a seminar to educate you guys on that it's not just the athletic component too, because so many of these kids recruitment process stop at GPA and SAT, and not enough of you understand the climate. Like, they not playing with this academic stuff no more. Like, ain't no Prop 48s no more. It's you either in or you not. And the NCAA is saying, look, you must take these classes. You can't be up in school taking, a non-college prep, you over here taking, I don't even know what kind of classes you want to say.
Cooking, you taking cooking class.
You want to take all of these classes, and then when it comes to your senior year and you're wondering why you're not getting recruited, but you might play on a significant AAU team, it's because you ain't got no grades, bro. These coaches, listen, and I'll be 1,000% with you. Unless you go into the league you gotta do your work, bro.
Mm.
Work. And what I mean, unless you go into the league, you know that you being suited to go to the league, which means
Right.
be one and done. Yeah, you gonna
Right.
register some fall classes. You gonna go into the fall, right? Your semester's gonna end in December. You ain't gonna sign up for classes after that because you're including and ready for the
I'm
draft.
out of here. I'm
That's
out of here.
You know what I'm saying? So the reality of it is like 99% of you are not even in that category. So you have,
Right. Right.
there's nothing more that I can say. I can't say this enough because many of you parents, as well as you players in particular, don't understand the importance of freshman year, getting off to a great start on your GPA, making sure as a parent, you're talking to that guidance counselor. Maybe the guidance counselor has never dealt with an athlete before. So they're just going to treat you like a regular student. When in fact, if you're an athlete and you're a student athlete who's aspiring to play at the collegiate level, you still have to go through the NCAA clearinghouse in order to be
Mm-hmm.
cleared to participate in collegiate sports at those levels. That's sanctioned by the NCAA. So there's certain things, there's quality points from certain classes that you have to take, and you have to get to a certain level in order to qualify. Now, obviously, the higher your GPA is, the lower you can do on your SAT. It's not saying that you don't do the SAT or perform well. It's just giving you a buffer because they're saying academically, you've already proven to be at this level. If you got 3.8 or 3.7, 3.9 GPA, maybe you're just not a good test taker. That
Right.
not, exclude you from being able. So they lower that. So it works on this sliding scale.
Right.
Any of you guys who are out here, this 2.1, whatever, they like, yo, you got to get a 1300.
Right. Right.
Hard to do. You know what I'm So it's important as parents. You guys got eighth graders. You got these high schools that's looking at your kid. You got the Catholic schools coming in and they want to interview you and X, Y, and Z. You want to make sure that you're coming to them equipped with like, all right, look, I want my kid to take boom, boom, boom. I want him to take this math class. I want to make sure he's in this English class. I want to make sure that he's taking
Right.
history. I want to make sure
Right.
he's selective. And you want to stay on them with that so that at the end of the day, when your kid gets ready to walk across that stage and graduate, you're like, yo, we worked collectively to get him.
Right. Right. Right.
And and people will respect you for it. You might be
Right.
considered an asshole or a hard ass or whatever it may be during that process to certain people. But at the end of the day, when your kid get to where he got to get to, it's going to be worth it. And
Right.
like, well, I had to be an asshole in order for my kid to get what he get. Now look at the other kids whose parents weren't on them like that and weren't holding you accountable, and look at where they at. So it's certain things that you got to do as a parent and as players. Yo, don't get so gassed up, man, with playing AAU, because some of you guys ain't even ready to play AAU, and that's just the real reality of it. Because the AAU is a stage, and that stage is you either are doing the exposing or you getting exposed, and you can
Right.
drop from being recruited just because you out there on that stage and you getting chopped up like you on the hibachi. Because in AAU, like I know, they, once they see this is not high school basketball, they're gonna keep passing around. AAU, once they sense you the weak link, clear it out. We about to work out, and you
Hibachi.
gonna be on Baller's Life, or you gonna be on a highlight, or you gonna be on.
Right. Right.
What I'm saying? So that's just as equally as important is, making sure that you even should be out there in the first place. You know, because some of you guys want to get out there and you don't knock down a 15-foot jump shot. You can't lay
Right.
up through any kind of traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't play basketball. You have to be
Right.
A to B, B to C, C to D in order to compete. And at the AAU level, you know that it's this. We up and down. We getting up and down. So I encourage players as well to make sure that whatever AAU team you on, that they doing those things to help you as a player, to get better. Because I know that that's
Right.
that you've done, and Tori did a good job of constantly focusing on the development portion. Practice this
Right.
development. There's angles for development. Yeah, we run our plays and stuff like that, but we want to make sure that we getting our shooting in, developing better shooting mechanics, more consistency. You know what I'm saying? Working on the ball handling, working on your finishing package. Because that time you should come back the next year a better player. You shouldn't come back with the same skill set that you just left with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Better at those things. So
Right. And we would do a good job too, man. And like, our AAU season, because it is a season to me, like, it would run from, April until the AC Live was the first week of August or last week of July. So that's a couple months. And we would be in like 10, 11 tournaments. We would have all our live tournaments booked, and then we would have what I call filler tournaments to prepare for the live tournaments.
Right.
Right. And we would take pride in the practice portion. Listen, and we understand, we get kids from all over, and maybe you can't make a practice here and there, but the missing of practices and you missing consecutive practices, or we're 2 weeks away from an important tournament and you're not coming down for a practice, you know what that means? You ain't playing. You're not going to go to the tournament. And we have enough guys where we would rotate. So listen, you sit, you play this tournament because you've been consistent to come to every practice. And, again, that's holding kids accountable and getting them ready for the next level. You know what I mean? So
parents, don't be telling me about no vacation. Don't be telling me.
Which is cool. No. Listen, as a AAU coach, I get it, right? And listen, you want to have your family vacation. Can you please tell me that? And because your family vacation usually is planned. It's not something like, yo, next week we just hopping up and getting in the car.
I'm talking about you waiting. We about to go play Rumble in the Bronx, so we about to play at Providence, so we about to go up there to go play, and then such and such won't make it because we're gonna go to such and such for our vacation. Okay, well you stay there. Stay with because you was going on vacation, and what you could have done was you could have let me know that very early in advance. Because guess what? There's other kids who I could be saying, all right, well, this tournament, I'm going to focus on these next.
Right.
I'm going to focus on, I'm not going to have Tyler or Brandon. I'm not going to have them because they're going on vacation. That's fine.
Right.
You can't go on vacation. I'm not saying that.
Just communicate that early enough.
You got to communicate that. What you can't do, wait to the week before, it's live period, or we about to go be in the fire, and we depending on you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, we going on vacation, then I'm sorry, bro. When you come back, don't expect to be playing in the rotation. And it's punishment in a way in which, I don't like that you went on vacation. Is number one, is like you said, you're not doing that at no college. I don't care what college you play for, Division 1, 2, 3, JUCO, NAIA, whatever type of situation you in, you is not telling that college coach, oh yeah, I won't be able to make the tournament, coach, or I won't be able to make the game because my family, we do this vacation, bruh.
I guess you just telling your coach, I don't want to play college basketball no more, coach. I'm good.
I'm out.
I'm good. I'm out of here. Go ahead. You can recruit over me. It's cool. I'm gonna go to Disney World.
So it's important. It's important.
Good point, bro.
Parents don't realize that, and they think that it's an indictment on them. Like, oh, what does he not want us to go on vacation? Or I can't believe this guy. He doesn't want us to go on vacation. And it's not that, bro. It's the time.
No. But also, I'm going to give the flip side to that. This is a sacrifice that you have to make as parents and players if you are pursuing to go play at the college level. And you might have to sacrifice family vacations at that time, or sacrifice a few things because of the end goal. So just understand that. And especially the timing of AAU and the AAU season, it runs during spring and summer. So you might not be able to go on the vacations that you want to go on. But listen, man, I've watched parents use the AAU trips as sort of a vacation. Listen, we're going to Florida for nationals. All right, cool. We'll stay an extra couple days, or in between times of games, or you got the half day off. We'll go do stuff like. So you got to kind of make what's best of the situation. But understand, man, players, parents, if you want to be a college basketball player, a lot of sacrifices are going to be made to make that dream come true. And then when you get to the next level, a lot of sacrifices are going to be made for you to stay at the college level.
Right. And it's that serious. You think that you climbed the mountaintop by getting a scholarship, and you get the right back down on ground floor in the basement, and you got to work your back up
again. And the real work begins, right?
And that word is so important. Sacrifice is so important because when you're sacrificing something, you feel as though it's worth it. You're never going to sacrifice something if you don't think that it's worth it. So those are the things that, again, can't stress it enough, man. It just is parents and players collectively needing to come together, as well as finding good situations with good coaches, and good things will happen. But if you take a hands off approach, don't complain about what happens. As players,
Right.
if you just expecting because you on the bench of whatever team that you just gonna get recruited, and you not out there putting in work, and you not out there distinguishing yourself, don't be the blend in guy. The blend in guy don't get seen. I'm just letting you know that right now. You can make one or two plays, and that could be enough to get the eyes on you. And I'm talking about you can go baseline and attempt to dunk on somebody, and hey, oh, okay, now you've made a play enough to get the eyes on you. Now it's all right. What we doing with that? And if you can make a couple more plays, then a coach may say, "Hey, coach, hey, Coach Wayne, who's that number 137 on your team? What's his situation?" Now it's like, yo, the marketing comes in. Yo, great kid, great character, comes to work hard every day, wants to get better, curious mind, always wanting to learn new things, willing to accept, super coachable, willing to accept criticism. Yeah, and he's a great student too. He has a 3.5 GPA. He's got 1250
Mm.
Cs.
I don't mean to cut you off because that was just a good point of what you just said. And it takes us back to things that parents should be looking for between AAU teams and AAU programs. I know our program had every kid listed. We had their GPA. And if they had taken the SAT, we've had that. And that was in like a file. So when coaches ask, boom, here you go. I know the answers to your questions
Word.
because every coach is going to approach you during these periods, and these coaches are going to ask your coach or ask you, mostly the coach first, what type of kid is he? What's his GPA? And what's his SAT? And if you don't have at least two of those three intact or ready to go, the coach ain't got time for you. He'll
So,
say, "Oh, thank you, coach. Oh yeah, we'll be watching," and then that's it. You won't hear from him again because again, it's a revolving door. Everything happens like this. So, you know, if you can give the information to the coach where he don't got to go search and look for it and go to the hoops and loops to try to find the information, the better for you and your child.
oh no,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
now you good. Let me add on to that too about the SAT, because the SAT is super. I don't want to say it's super important because there's a lot of institutions that's done away with that altogether. But
Right.
one of the things that I found as a little hack to the SAT, and kind of it leaves a little distressor for kids because I know I was not a good test taker at all. And back when we were going to college, and it was like SAT was everything. You know what I'm saying? Now it's not so much, but
Right.
you can take the SAT as many times as you want. They're only going to take the highest score of each thing. So they're going to
Right.
take the highest of your math. They're going to take the highest of your verbal, can put them together, and boom, that's your SAT score. So a hack that I used for some of the kids that I've worked with it is if you're doing SAT prep, focus on one. Focus on one area.
Mm.
Yo, I'm going to focus on verbal right now. So I'm going to go with my SAT prep. I'm going to look at how to pull out these different aspects from the comprehension portion of the SAT so that I can go ahead and get a high verbal score. I'm going to go ahead and take the math portion, but my focus isn't going to be on math and verbal. It's going to be on the verbal portion. Boom, I get
Right.
math area, but my aim
Right.
focus on what I could get at the verbal. Now, boom, I get the verbal. I got a good score. Maybe I got 600 or something like that on the verbal or whatever, right? Now you can shift your SAT prep to now the math portion. I got
Right. Right.
verbal.
Right.
Let me focus now on the math side because I think it's very hard. It works two sides of the brain to have math and verbal. And sometimes kids are always going to lean towards one or the other. There are those
Right.
kids who can do both, but generally speaking, kids are going to lean towards one or favorable on one rather than the other. So break your strategy up towards the SAT prep portion and focus on one thing, take the test. Then come back, regroup, focus on the other thing, take the test. Now we could do the next one. We take the test, we take both of them, we see what we get. We took it 3 times. This is what we got. We good. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
And now we're
Good
good.
point. Good point. And like you said, man, for you parents and players out there, stay tuned, man. I know this is something that we will have always wanted to put together. So stay tuned for something from us that will be specifically for the NCAA and recruitment and clearinghouse and making sure your grades and your core courses and all those things and tips and tricks that will help the process. So please stay tuned for and keep your eyes open as for the future. We definitely will be putting something together for you guys that will help aid and maybe help make the process for you a little bit smoother and easier.
That's a fact.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. That's good.
Yeah. It was good, man. Information is key, you know. So for you guys out there, man, we always say if you could do us a huge favor, if you could do us a huge favor, if you could go to the YouTube, hit that search button, man. Search the Hoop Chat, hit that subscribe, hit that like. We have 10 episodes out. This is the 11th. We are growing.
Make sure you share it. That's the biggest thing. After you subscribe, and please, 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 the reason why we're saying this because we feel like we want to be able to, again, get this information out to the masses. And the only way to do that is to be able to share this information. So when you guys, share it, yo. I'm sure that in your communities, you know what I mean? Whether or not you're a parent, player, coach, this information is information that everybody can learn from. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure y'all got at least 2 or 3 people who that are into basketball, whether they're enthusiasts from a parent perspective, whether they're players, whether they're coaches, and just share this information with them, man, and just kind of get this thing out here because at the end of the day, this is what we're doing it for. We're trying to educate, inspire, and empower you guys so that you can go out here and make good decisions for yourselves and for your families when it comes to this game of basketball.
Absolutely. Then you can hit us up on at the Hoop Chat 247 on IG for the latest news on what's happening at the Hoop Chat. If any questions, any comments, things that you would like to hear us talk about, you could DM me at Coach W Nelly. You could hit Mara up at Mars Basketball on IG. Anything, man, comments, anything, man. We like to hear from you guys because it helps us. It keeps us, intrigued into what the audience wants to hear and what things that, questions that you guys have. I say at every beginning of the show, please go to marsbball.com, look for some merch. As the season starts to change, I know he's going to have some new fire on there for you guys. And just, check out the website, man. It's from an artistic standpoint. It's dope. It's really dope. So go check it out, marsbball.com. And that's it, man. Another show in the books.
Sure. Yes, sir.
In the books, man. And I'm going to switch it up for you guys today. Keeping the same essence, but just make sure you use your success, use your wealth, and your influence to put people in the best positions to realize their own dreams and find their own true purpose.
Talk to them.
We out here.
We want to welcome everybody to the Hoop Chat. The Hoop Chat. Excited about this topic right here, dog. Let's go.
I learned how to win in college.
Process, right?
Absolutely. Separate the men from the boys. It will separate the real from the fake. It will separate the committed from the uncommitted, who really loves the game and who really don't.
Your network equals your net worth. 25 years of experience.
Oh, man, yeah, let's get to work. Let's get to work.